Happy New Year, y'all. Welcome to Meet Me at the Spot, where pleasure meets education. This week's episode, we are about to flip the script on the classic New Year, New Me energy. Did you know that only about 10% of people achieve their New Year's resolutions? This is why this year, we're saying fuck off to resolutions and hello to reflection and intention. This episode, and honestly, this whole year, is about slowing down enough to actually check in. Check in with your body, check in with your knowledge, check in with your pleasure, and to check in with the ways you show up for yourself and for your community. And because reflection is honestly a lot easier when you're not trying to hold everything in your head, I have created a free companion resource for this episode. It's called the 2026 Pleasure and Advocacy Reset Inventory. It's a fillable online worksheet designed to help you take stock of where you are right now, what feels solid, what's feeling a little shaky, and what you might want more of this year. As you listen, you might notice questions popping up for yourself. Do I actually know what's happening with my rights in my state? When was the last time I learned something new about my body? What would pleasure look like if it felt intentional instead of rushed? That's exactly what the inventory is there for. No pressure, no need for protection, but just to gain some clarity. So, as we move through today's conversation, I invite you to listen with curiosity instead of judgment. Let today's episode be a moment where you're not trying to overhaul your entire life, but you're just noticing, learning, and maybe getting a little more honest with yourself. Stick with me because we're going to talk about what's actually at stake in 2026 when it comes to sexual and reproductive health, how education becomes a form of protection, and how pleasure, whether that's solo or partnered, can be a part of your reset, not something you earn later. Let's start off with talking about intention setting. Resolutions come with so much pressure, so much shame, and a lot of this yo-yo energy, this back and forth. And every year, we all, myself included, go, oh, when the new year comes, I'm going to change XYZ. And I change it maybe for a little bit, but not forever. And I always struggle with resolutions. So I thought instead, what if we reframe January as a time of curiosity, self-discovery, and inner safety? What if instead of we're depriving or restricting ourselves, we're committing to expanding our knowledge, our boundaries, our pleasure, our sense of power? Sexual health, whether we're talking about bodies, pleasure, consent, autonomy, deserves to be part of your wellness goals because taboo, shame, and silence almost always do more harm than good. Learning about our bodies, our wants, our needs, and our rights isn't frivolous. It's radical, it's healing, and maybe it's exactly what we're looking for to thrive in 2026. If you feel a little nervous or uncertain about this work, you're not alone. That's why I have built a companion inventory guide, which I will link in the show notes for you. This is to help guide you to be as gentle or as bold as you choose. "2026 is the year of knowledge, and it is the year of staying alert. 2026 is already shaping up to be a critical year for sexual and reproductive health in the United States. So if you care about rights, autonomy, or access, this matters. A couple things to watch out for. So in some states, ballot measures are going to be coming for Election Day that could either expand or restrict reproductive and gender affirming rights. So, for instance, just to give you an example, in Missouri, there's a proposed constitutional amendment on the 2026 ballot that, if passed, would ban abortion except in narrow cases, limit reproductive health care, and also prohibit gender affirming care for minors. In Nevada, where folks voted in favor of abortion protections in 2024, supporters will now have to vote again in 2026 for those protections to become permanent in their state constitution. That means 2026 isn't just about this new year, new me. Personally, for many people, it's about new year, new vote, new protections. So, what does this mean for us as individuals and as communities? Even if you live in a state that currently allows abortion or gender affirming care, those rights may still be under pressure. Laws and constitutional amendments can shift, and 2026 ballots are shaping up to matter for many across our country. Misinformation is on the rise, and so is fear. And that's why education, fact-checking, learning, sharing accurate info is part of self-care and community care. So for your 2026 education action step, maybe think about picking one topic. Maybe it's around abortion rights in your state. Maybe it's around bodily autonomy or gender-affirming care laws. And commit to learning more this year. Read reliable sources. Follow reliable social media content creators. Talk to your friends. Stay alert and be aware of measures that may be on the ballot this year. Because change isn't only personal, it's political. Okay, so you want to lean in and you're feeling ready. That's so great. Advocacy doesn't have to look like going to protests or making these big viral posts. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's quiet. You've heard me talk about this on previous episodes, and you will continue to hear me talking about it in this way. There is a lane for advocacy for everyone who wants to get involved. Some people are protests, marchers, and they're those kind of folks. Some people are letter writers. Some people call. Some people do art for activism. All of it is important in its own way. So when we think about what can you do in your day-to-day life, or what we'll call micro advocacy, when you hear a joke or comment that's harmful, maybe something about consent or bodies, abortion, gender, orientation, call it out if you feel safe to do so. Speaking up is super important right now. Sharing accurate information. Maybe someone asks you about basics, like, wait, is the abortion pill really safe? Or I heard this is no longer working anymore, whatever it may be. Instead of just shrugging it off, you could drop a link or a resource or say, I follow these really great content creators and they share a lot of information. You should follow them too. Talk about things like boundaries, consent, and pleasure with your friends, your family, your partners. Normalize those conversations. If you're a parent like me, you can be having these conversations every day. I have a toddler, and we have been talking about consent and boundaries since she was a baby and probably before she even understood what I was saying. But saying things like, can I give you a hug? And respecting if she doesn't want to give a hug, if she doesn't want to give a high five, respecting her boundaries, but also teaching family and friends that they don't automatically get hugs from my child without her consent, and they don't have a right to disrespect her personal boundaries as a human being. If you're looking to get involved more at a macro level and around civic engagement, 2026 is going to be big election year. So ballot measures and candidates will shape reproductive and gender-affirming rights for possibly years to come. So that means voting and encouraging people you know to vote really matters. Anyone who tells you that your vote is not important is coming from a place of privilege and likely from a place of misinformation. Research where candidates stand on sexual autonomy, bodily rights, healthcare access, and trans rights. If you are not sure where they stand, attend town halls, reach out to their staff and ask them. Find their social media and reach out to them in that way and ask where they stand on these issues. It's important for you to know. Remember that elected officials work for the people. So it's important to know who you are hiring to do the job. Support organizations or initiatives working on reproductive justice, trans rights, sex education, access to care, etc., etc. And this can be financially supporting someone. This can be supporting the organization with your time. This can be supporting by sharing their social media posts. That's such a huge way to share information with folks. You don't have to be a social media guru or a content creator to still get messages across and to still be an influence to your family and your friends and your followers. If you can get involved, attend local forums, write letters or emails to your representatives, and spread awareness in your networks. Why does all of this matter? Because silence and apathy are powerful. If people like us don't talk, don't push, don't vote, the people making decisions won't feel the consequences. But if we start to get loud, informed, and most importantly, organized, we start to shift the culture. We start to shift the policy, and we protect people's bodies and their rights. Now let's get into the fun part, because pleasure, whether it's solo or partnered, is not just a reward. It's part of wellness. It's part of knowing and owning your body. It's part of healing, and it's honestly part of resistance. So whether you're single, casually dating, in a long-term relationship, or just exploring new things, this segment is for you. If you're looking for some ideas around solo exploration, maybe try a new sensation. Experiment with temperature changes, with cold or with hot, with different textures, light pressure or deeper touch, gentle massage, and other sensations you might not have explored before. Give yourself permission to schedule pleasure, maybe once a week or once a month, even if life's busy. Treat it like a wellness date. Use items you already own, so things like scents, music, fabric, soft lighting, to create a ritual. Turn off all your distractions. Connect with your body and your breath and your desires. Maybe you want to read something erotic or sensual. Journal about what feels good, what you want to explore, and what feels safe for you. Now, if you're with a partner or partners and you want some ideas for exploration, having a pleasure check-in, maybe once a month, talk about what you like, what you want to try, what feels off. Honest communication builds trust, and honestly, it's really hot. Try a new communication tool. So maybe using a simple green, yellow, red check-in before diving into intimacy. Use yes, maybe no cards. Or ask, what do you want to feel more of this year? Ask that of yourself and ask that of your partner or partners. Explore a new fantasy or a kink curiosity, maybe a new position or a new toy. Ensure that this is done consensually, respectfully, and with communication, of course. Bring education into intimacy. Read a body-positive sex education article or listen to a sex-positive podcast together and reflect. Pleasure isn't a luxury. It's essential. It's self-care. It's reclaiming joy in a world that often tells us to be ashamed, quiet, or small. Let this year be about connection to ourselves, our partners if we have them, and to our bodies. Okay, so I've been talking about a lot so far. I want to take a moment for some reflection. So right now, wherever you are, ask yourself these 5 questions. Number 1, what did I learn about my body or sexuality last year? even if it is just a little. Number 2, what do I want more of this year? Knowledge, pleasure, confidence, boundaries, community. Number 3, what feels exciting? What feels nurturing? What feels possible? Number 4, what scares me, but maybe should be named anyway? And number 5, if I had to choose one small intention for 2026 that's about pleasure or advocacy, what would it be? Now hold on to those answers. If you're somewhere where you can write them down, do that. Keep them near and dear to your heart because in a few minutes, I'm going to tell you how they can become part of your year plan. As we wrap up this week's episode, I want to thank you for being here with me and for really leaning into this work, for being willing to learn, to question, to feel, to fight, and to play. If what you heard in this episode resonated at all with you, as a reminder, I have created a free companion worksheet to go along with today's episode. It's called the 2026 Pleasure and Advocacy Reset Inventory. It's a free printable, fillable worksheet that helps you take stock of where you are now, reflect on last year's shifts, and set some intentions for growth, whether that's in education, in self-pleasure, advocacy, and in boundaries. It also includes a 30-day mini challenge if you want a gentle push into new habits. You can get the link in my show notes to download your free inventory today. So here's to you. Here's to growth, curiosity, pleasure, resistance, rest, and real connection. This is your year. Let's make it sexy, let's make it strong, and let's make it smart. Until next time, bye!